The alarm blared through Project Dawn's main facility, its harsh sound echoing off the steel walls. Captain James Walker ran down the corridor, his boots clicking against the polished floor. Something had gone terribly wrong with humanity's first faster-than-light drive, and it was happening just 3 days before the big test. "Talk to me, Emma. What's the status?" he shouted as he burst into the control room. Dr. Emma Reed stood hunched over a computer screen, her face lit by its blue glow. Dark circles under her eyes showed she hadn't slept in days. "It's bad, James. The quantum core is breaking down at the molecular level. It's like it's eating itself." She pushed her glasses up and rubbed her tired eyes. "This shouldn't be possible. We triple-checked everything." Walker leaned over her shoulder, studying the readings. The FTL drive they'd spent 10 years building was literally falling apart. Tiny holes were appearing in the quantum core's structure, spreading like cancer. All their hopes of reaching the stars, all their dreams of expansion beyond Earth's solar system, were crumbling before their eyes. "Get everyone out of the testing chamber," Walker ordered, hitting the facility-wide comm button. "Full evacuation. Now." Through the observation window, Walker watched as scientists and engineers rushed out of the massive chamber that housed the FTL drive. The machine itself was beautiful, a 30-foot-tall cylinder of gleaming metal and pulsing light, representing the peak of human achievement, or at least it had been until 10 minutes ago. "James," Emma called out suddenly. "Look at this." She pointed to her screen, where she'd magnified the image of the deteriorating quantum core. "These patterns, they're not random." Walker squinted at the display. The holes appearing in the core material indeed formed a distinct pattern, almost like. "It looks manufactured," he said slowly, the realization hitting him. "This isn't a malfunction. This is sabotage." Emma's fingers flew across the keyboard, running more detailed scans. "These are nanobots," she said, her voice filled with a mixture of horror and fascination. "Incredibly advanced ones. They're programmed to break down specific atomic bonds in our quantum core." Walker's fist slammed against the desk. Who could have done this? China? Russia? The European Union? Emma shook her head, pulling up more data. "James, look at the construction of these nanobots. The materials, the programming. This isn't human technology. We're at least 50 years away from something this sophisticated." The implications hit Walker like a physical blow. If Emma was right, and she usually was, then they weren't dealing with human saboteurs. The thought was both terrifying and oddly thrilling. "Are you saying?" "We're not alone," Emma finished, "and whoever's out there doesn't want us joining them in the stars." Over the next 48 hours, Project Dawn turned into a hive of activity. The FTL drive was quarantined, but it was too late to save it. The nanobots had reduced the quantum core to useless dust. Teams of scientists worked around the clock, studying every piece of data they could salvage. Walker stood in his office, staring out the window at the New Mexico desert. The evening sun painted the sand orange, but he barely noticed the beauty. His mind was racing with possibilities and implications. He'd joined the military space program to help humanity reach the stars. Never had he imagined he'd be dealing with actual aliens, hostile ones at that. A knock on his door interrupted his thoughts. Emma walked in, carrying a tablet and looking even more exhausted than before. "You need to see this," she said, placing the tablet on his desk. "We've been going through old data, looking for anything unusual. Look at these energy readings from 6 months ago." Walker studied the graphs she showed him. "These spikes, they're not from our systems. No, they match the energy signature of the nanobots. Whatever did this has been watching us for months, maybe longer. They waited until we were almost ready to test the drive before they struck." Walker's jaw clenched. "They wanted us to know. They could have sabotaged us early in development, but they waited until we'd invested everything. They wanted to send a message." "There's more," Emma said, swiping to a new screen. We found this embedded in the nanobot's code structure. It's not exactly writing, but, well, look. The screen showed a complex pattern that repeated over and over. After a moment, Walker realized it was a star map. One point was clearly marked, different from the others. We think it's their location, Emma explained, or at least one of their bases. It's like they signed their work. They're so advanced, they don't even care if we know who did it. Or they're arrogant, Walker said, his mind already working on possibilities. They think we're so far behind them technologically that it doesn't matter if we know. Emma nodded slowly. The level of technology in just these nanobots, it's incredible. The way they work, the materials they're made from, it's like science fiction. We could learn so much just from studying the remains. Walker straightened up, a plan forming in his mind. Get me everything you can on these nanobots. Every scrap of data, every theory, everything. And Emma, keep this quiet. If there really are aliens out there trying to keep us down, we need to be smart about this. What are you thinking? Emma asked, recognizing the look in his eyes. I'm thinking it's time humanity showed these aliens they picked the wrong species to mess with. They left us their signature. Fine. Maybe it's time we paid them a visit. Over the next few days, as the public was told that Project Dawn had suffered a major technical setback, Walker and Emma worked secretly with a small team. They studied every piece of alien technology they could salvage from the ruins of their FTL drive. The nanobots had mostly destroyed themselves after completing their mission, but they hadn't counted on human determination and ingenuity. In his private moments, Walker couldn't help but smile at the aliens' mistake. They thought they were sending humanity a message, showing them their place in the cosmic hierarchy. Instead, they'd given humanity its first pieces of advanced alien technology to study. More importantly, they'd given humanity something it had never had before, proof that faster-than-light travel was possible, and a target to aim for. In a secure underground room, Walker met with the United Earth Defense Council. The faces around the table were grim as he laid out what they'd discovered. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, standing at the head of the table, "we've been attacked. Not by any nation on Earth, but by an alien civilization that wants to keep us grounded. They think they've won. They think they've sent us back to square one." He paused, looking each council member in the eye. "I say we show them how humans respond to bullies." The council chamber erupted in discussion, but Walker could see the fire in their eyes. Humanity had just been pushed down, but like always, they would get back up. And this time, they'd come back stronger. As he left the council chamber with approval for his new mission, Walker looked up at the stars through a window. Somewhere up there, an advanced alien civilization was probably congratulating itself on keeping humanity in its place. They had no idea what was coming. Emma met him in the corridor. The council approved it. Walker nodded. "Project Phoenix is a go. Start putting together your team. We're going to need the best minds on Earth for this." "And if we run into these aliens?" she asked. Walker's smile was grim. "Then we'll thank them for the technology they so kindly left us, right before we show them how humans improve on everything we touch." The stars twinkled above them, holding both threat and promise. Humanity's first faster-than-light drive was destroyed, but from its ashes, something new would rise. The aliens who had tried to stop human progress had instead guaranteed it. They just didn't know it yet. The underground facility buzzed with activity as Walker studied the holographic display, showing their latest stealth technology test results. 3 months had passed since the alien sabotage, and Project Phoenix was moving faster than anyone had expected. Humans, as it turned out, worked best when they were angry. "The test results are promising," Dr. Marcus Stone said, pointing to the energy readings. The quantum physicist had joined the team 2 months ago, and his brilliant mind had already proved invaluable. "We've managed to replicate the cloaking effect we found in the alien nanobot's outer shell. How long until we can scale it up?" Walker asked, his eyes fixed on the data streams. "That's the interesting part. Marcus grinned, pulling up another display. Dr. Wells thinks she's found a way to improve it. Dr. Anna Wells stepped forward from her workstation. The AI specialist had dark circles under her eyes, but they sparkled with excitement. The alien stealth technology is good, but it's wasteful. They're using complex systems where simple ones would work better. It's like they never stopped to question their original designs. Walker raised an eyebrow. It wasn't the first time they'd found inefficiencies in the alien tech. Show me. Anna's fingers danced across the holographic controls. Look here. Their cloaking system uses quantum fields to bend light and other forms of radiation, but they're generating these fields using massive amounts of energy. We found a way to achieve the same effect with just 30% of the power. Emma walked in just as Anna was explaining, carrying a tablet filled with her latest findings. It's not just the cloaking system, she added. Everything we've reverse-engineered from their tech shows the same pattern. They're technically advanced, but rigid. No creativity. Walker smiled. It was exactly what they needed. A weakness they could exploit. The aliens might have better technology, but humans had something they didn't. The ability to think outside the box. How soon can we have a working prototype? He asked. 2 weeks for the small-scale version, Anna replied. A month for something big enough to hide a ship. Walker nodded. Make it 3 weeks. The Meridian Collective isn't going to wait forever to check on their handiwork. They had learned the aliens' name from fragments of code in the nanobots. The Meridian Collective, an advanced civilization that saw themselves as the guardians of proper technological development in the galaxy. In their eyes, humanity was moving too fast, too recklessly. In the facility's break room later that day, Walker found Marcus staring into his coffee cup. Something on your mind? Just thinking about what we're about to do, Marcus replied. We're going to steal from one of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. One wrong move. One wrong move and Earth stays grounded forever, Walker finished. But the right moves. We show them that humanity deserves its place among the stars. Marcus smiled slightly. You make it sound simple. It is simple. They think we're primitive. That makes us dangerous. The next 3 weeks passed in a blur of activity. The underground facility, hidden beneath an abandoned mining operation in Nevada, became a hive of innovation. Every piece of alien technology they'd salvaged from the nanobots was studied, taken apart, and improved upon. Emma and her engineering team worked on replicating the alien materials. Anna's AI systems learned to crack alien encryption codes. Marcus solved quantum equations that would have won him a Nobel Prize if they weren't completely classified. Walker watched it all with pride. This was humanity at its finest, backed into a corner but fighting back with everything they had. Final test running, Anna announced one evening, as they prepared to demonstrate their completed stealth system. The prototype ship, really just a small shuttle, sat in the center of the testing chamber. Energy readings flared on the monitors as the system activated. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly, the shuttle began to fade from view, not just invisible, but completely undetectable to any form of scanning they could throw at it. It works, Emma whispered, checking and rechecking the readings. It actually works better than their version. Walker touched the invisible hull of the shuttle. They couldn't see it, but it was solid under his hand. How many can we build? With current resources, 3 ships this size, Emma replied. But Walker, we found something else while working on this. She led him to her lab, where a complex diagram filled one of the screens. We've been studying their quantum communication systems, the ones they use to control the nanobots. They don't just send data. They're part of a massive network, like an interstellar internet. Walker's eyes widened as he understood. You can tap into their communications. Better. Emma's smile was fierce. We can find their facilities, their shipping routes, their research stations, everything. The implications were staggering. They wouldn't have to blindly search for alien technology to steal. They could pick their targets. That night, Walker called a meeting with the core team. Emma, Marcus, and Anna sat around the conference table, along with key members of their support staff. 3 weeks from now, Walker began, we launch Operation Payback. 3 ships, 3 targets. We've identified a research station in the Kuiper Belt where they've been watching us from. That's our primary target. He brought up a holographic map showing the station's location. They think they're hidden, but thanks to Dr. Reed's work with their quantum network, we can see them clear as day. We go in, we take what we need, and we get out. What if we run into their security? Marcus asked. Then we show them what happens when you back humans into a corner, Anna replied, a glint in her eye. Our improved versions of their tech should give them a nasty surprise. The room filled with determined nods. Everyone there had lost years of work when the aliens destroyed Project Dawn. This was their chance to take it all back, and then some. 3 teams, Walker continued. I'll lead Alpha Team to the research station. Dr. Reed, you'll take Beta Team to their communication relay. Dr. Wells, you've got Gamma Team hitting their supply depot. Dr. Stone will coordinate from here and monitor their quantum network for any signs we've been detected. Emma raised her hand. What exactly are we looking for once we're inside? Everything, Walker replied. Their FTL technology, weapons, shields, anything we can use. But most importantly, we need their quantum crystalline processors. Without those, we can't build our own advanced systems. The room grew quiet as the magnitude of what they were about to attempt sank in. They were about to steal from beings who could cross the galaxy in the blink of an eye. One more thing, Walker added, his voice grave. If any team is detected, you abort immediately. We can't risk them tracing us back to Earth. We get one shot at this. Let's make it count. As the meeting broke up, Walker stayed behind, looking at the holographic display of their targets. Somewhere up there, the Meridian Collective thought they had won. They thought they had put humanity back in its place. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. The stolen alien stealth technology worked perfectly. Walker's ship hung invisible in space near the Meridian Research Station, which looked like a giant silver snowflake spinning slowly against the stars. Through the viewport, he could see the station's crystalline arms stretching out for miles, each one filled with laboratories and research facilities. Beta Team in position. Emma's voice came through the quantum comm. Her ship was stationed near the communication relay, waiting for their signal. Gamma Team ready, Anna reported from the supply depot location. Walker checked his tactical display. They had spent weeks planning this mission, studying the station's patterns. Now it was time to see if their improvements on the alien tech really worked. Remember, Marcus's voice came from mission control back on Earth. You have a 20-minute window before their security scan cycles. Don't get greedy. Walker nodded to his team. They were all wearing reverse-engineered versions of Meridian environmental suits, modified to work better with human biology. Alpha Team moving in. Start the clock. Their ship glided silently toward the station. The improved stealth system worked even better in space than it had during testing. They approached an airlock on one of the outer arms, where their scans had shown minimal activity. They're not even using basic motion sensors, one of Walker's team members whispered in awe. They really don't expect anyone to be able to reach them out here. Their arrogance is our advantage, Walker replied, watching as their computer system interfaced with the airlock. The alien code they'd stolen from the nanobots did its work, and the door slid open silently. Inside, the station was beautiful. The corridors were made of some kind of transparent crystal that seemed to glow from within. Their footsteps made no sound on the polished floor. Beta Team breaching now, Emma reported over the comm. Gamma Team entering through maintenance shaft, Anna added. Walker led his team through the crystalline corridors, following the map they'd pieced together from stolen data. The few Meridian aliens they saw were tall, silvery beings who walked with an air of casual superiority. None of them gave the human team a second glance, their stolen suits making them look like just another group of researchers. Primary lab ahead, Walker's second-in-command reported, checking a scanner they'd modified to detect quantum energy signatures, strong power readings. The lab doors opened automatically for them, their stolen access codes working perfectly. Inside, Walker had to stop himself from gasping. The room was enormous, filled with technology that made their most advanced equipment look like children's toys. "Spread out. Get everything you can," he ordered. "Priority on the quantum processors and FTL data cores." His team moved quickly, using specially designed devices to copy alien data and collect small but crucial components. Everything was going smoothly, too smoothly. "Walker," Marcus's voice came through suddenly, tense with worry. "We're picking up some strange readings from the quantum network. I think they're—" The message cut off in a burst of static. At the same moment, alarms began blaring throughout the station. "This is not a normal security scan," one of Walker's team reported, checking their instruments. "They know we're here. All teams, abort mission," Walker ordered, but Emma's voice cut in. "Negative. We need 2 more minutes to get the core data from the relay. Without it, everything else is useless." Walker cursed under his breath. "Beta and Gamma, get what you can and get out. Alpha team, we're going to make some noise." He turned to his team. "New plan. We're going to give them something obvious to chase." He pointed to the far end of the lab. "Plant charges there. Non-lethal, just flashy. Then head to emergency exit point 2. I'll meet you there." As his team moved to follow orders, Walker ran to the central console. They needed something to show for this mission, something worth the risk. His fingers flew over the alien controls, using every code-breaking trick Anna had developed. The alarms grew louder. Through the crystal walls, he could see Meridian security forces gathering. They moved with the same arrogant precision as everything else they did. No urgency, no adaptation, just following standard procedures. "Beta team clear," Emma reported. "We got the core data." "Gamma team retreating with acquired resources," Anna added. Walker smiled as his console finally gave him what he wanted: access to the station's main research database. He plugged in a quantum storage device and started downloading everything. The charges his team planted went off, filling the far end of the lab with blinding light and harmless but impressive-looking energy discharges. As he'd hoped, the Meridian security forces immediately moved to investigate, following their protocols perfectly. "Alpha team, what's your status?" Marcus's voice had returned, heavy with concern. "Getting what we came for," Walker replied, watching the download progress. "Have you seen their response? They're not even trying to lock down the whole station. They're just following their security playbook step by step." "Don't get cocky," Marcus warned. "Their tech is still way ahead of ours." "Maybe," Walker agreed, grabbing the storage device as the download completed. "But they don't know how to improvise." He ran for the emergency exit, hearing the confused communications of Meridian security behind him. They were still focusing on the distraction, still following their procedures, while he took a route their protocols didn't cover. The trip back to the ship was tense but manageable. The Meridians had never considered that someone might use their own stealth technology against them, and they hadn't updated their security systems to detect it. "All teams report," Walker called as his ship detached from the station. "Beta team clear, heading home," Emma replied. "We got their communication protocols and quantum network specifications." "Gamma team away," Anna reported. "Secured samples of their advanced materials and power systems." Walker looked at the storage device in his hand. "Alpha team heading out. We got their research database, and—" he checked another device attached to his suit, samples of their quantum processors. As their ships moved away from the station, they could see the Meridian security vessels beginning to respond. But the aliens were still following standard search patterns, still behaving exactly as their protocols dictated. They're not even considering that we might have improved their stealth tech, Emma observed, a note of satisfaction in her voice. Their weakness is their strength, Walker replied, watching the alien ships search futilely. They're so advanced, they've forgotten how to think creatively. Everything is processes and protocols for them. The journey back to Earth was tense but uneventful. Their stolen and improved stealth technology kept them hidden from the Meridian ships that were now actively searching the system. In the debriefing room back on Earth, Walker looked at the assembled team. Despite their success, he knew the hard part was just beginning. "We got what we needed," he announced, "but now comes the real challenge. We have to understand it, improve it, and prepare to use it. Because once we start building our own advanced chips and technology, the Meridians will notice." Emma held up the data core from the relay station. "They'll notice, but by then it'll be too late. They think they know everything about how their technology can be used. Wait until they see what humans can do with it." Walker nodded, looking at each member of the team. They were tired but proud, and more importantly, they were ready for the next phase. "The Meridians think they're superior because they have better technology," he said. "Let's show them what happens when you give humanity some new tools to play with." The stolen quantum processor sat on Emma's workbench, its crystalline structure catching the light. 2 months had passed since the heist, and Project Phoenix's underground facility had transformed into something that looked like a cross between a human lab and an alien research center. "Watch this," Emma said to Walker, who had just walked in for the daily progress report. She pressed a button on her console, sending a surge of power through the alien device. The processor lit up with an inner glow, but instead of the steady blue light they'd seen in the Meridian station, it pulsed with rainbow colors. "Is it supposed to do that?" Walker asked, concerned. Emma grinned. "That's the beautiful part. We're not just using it. We're pushing it past what the Meridians thought possible. They designed these processors to be stable and predictable. We're teaching them to dance." Across the room, Anna was working with a team of programmers, their screens filled with a mixture of human and alien code. "The Meridian's AI systems are incredibly advanced," she called out, "but they're also incredibly wasteful. They use quantum processing for everything, even simple tasks that a regular computer could handle better." Walker walked over to her station. "Can we do better?" "We already are." Anna pulled up a comparison chart. "By combining our traditional computing systems with their quantum processors, we're getting performance that's 5 times better than their pure quantum systems. They never even thought to try it. Probably seemed too primitive to them." The excitement in the facility was contagious. Every day brought new breakthroughs as human creativity crashed into alien precision. Marcus had set up a testing chamber where they were experimenting with the Meridian's power systems, finding ways to make them more efficient by breaking all the rules the aliens had built into them. "They're like master craftsmen who never question their training," Marcus explained to Walker as they watched a test of their hybrid power core. "They do everything perfectly, but they're stuck in their ways. We're like kids who don't know what's impossible, so we try anyway. And sometimes it works." The stolen database was proving to be a goldmine of information, but not in the way they'd expected. The Meridian's technical documentation was thorough but rigid, filled with warnings about exactly what not to do with their technology. Human engineers took these warnings as challenges, deliberately pushing systems beyond their supposed limits. "Look at this," Emma said one evening, calling Walker to her lab. She had connected one of their improved quantum processors to a holographic display. The image it projected wasn't the clean, precise hologram the Meridians used, but something more vibrant and dynamic. "Their holograms can only show what's in their approved pattern libraries," she explained. "We modified the system to generate images on the fly. It uses more power, but it can show anything we can imagine." Walker watched the swirling colors with satisfaction. "How long until we can start building ships?" "That's the thing," Emma replied, pulling up another display. "We don't need to build their ships. We can build something better." She showed him the designs they'd been working on. The ships looked nothing like the elegant but sterile Meridian vessels. These were hybrids, combining the best of human and alien technology in ways the Meridians had never considered. "We're calling it the Phoenix class," she said proudly. "Faster than their ships, more maneuverable, and armed with weapons they won't expect." "Because they're impossible?" Walker asked with a smile. "Because they're simple," Anna cut in, joining them. "The Meridians use complex quantum weapons that can tear apart atomic bonds. We're building guns that shoot good old-fashioned projectiles, just accelerated to near-light speed using their own power systems." The work continued day and night. The Meridian database had included their faster-than-light drive specifications, but humanity wasn't content to just copy them. The human engineers found ways to streamline the system, removing redundancies that the safety-obsessed Meridians had built in. "They're so afraid of their systems failing that they build in backups for their backups," Marcus explained during a test of their prototype drive. "But all those backup systems slow everything down. We're stripping out the extras and adding human-style emergency protocols instead." "Is it safe?" Walker asked, watching the drive power up. "Safe enough," Marcus replied with a grin. "And twice as fast as their version." The breakthrough they'd all been waiting for came 3 months after the heist. Emma called an emergency meeting in the main lab, her face glowing with excitement. "We've cracked it," she announced to the assembled team. "We know why they sabotaged us, why they were so afraid of our original FTL project." She pulled up a comparison between humanity's original drive design and the Meridian version. "Look at this, our original design, the one they destroyed. It was better than theirs, more primitive in some ways, yes, but also more innovative. If they'd let us finish it, we would have embarrassed them." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. The Meridians hadn't attacked out of fear that humanity was developing too quickly. They'd attacked because humanity was developing in the wrong direction, finding solutions that made their carefully maintained technological superiority look foolish. "So what now?" Walker asked, looking at the prototype ship taking shape in the assembly bay. "Now," Emma's smile was fierce, "now we take everything they gave us, everything we stole from them, and we make it work our way. We build ships that their sensors can't predict because we're not following their rules. We make weapons they can't defend against because we're not using their playbook." The next few weeks were a blur of activity as they prepared their first full-size ship for testing. It looked dangerous, a combination of smooth Meridian crystal and aggressive human engineering. The quantum processors had been pushed to their limits, then reconfigured to work in ways the Meridians had never imagined. "Ready for power-up sequence," Anna announced from her station. The ship's bridge was a hybrid too, combining holographic displays with physical controls that humans could feel and manipulate. Walker sat in the captain's chair, watching as systems came online. The ship hummed with power, but not the steady, predictable hum of a Meridian vessel. This was something new, something that shouldn't have worked according to their database, but did anyway. "All systems operational," Emma reported. "The hybrid drive is stable. Hull integrity at 100%. Weapons are hot." Walker looked at the weapons display with satisfaction. The Meridians would be expecting quantum disruption beams and energy weapons. They wouldn't be looking for railguns powered by their own quantum cores, or missiles guided by hybrid AI systems that could think in ways their rigid programs couldn't predict. "Begin final system check," he ordered. "The Meridians will notice us eventually, and when they do," Emma finished, "they'll learn that giving humans access to advanced technology doesn't make us more like them. It just lets us be ourselves more efficiently." The ship's engines pulsed with power, not the clean, precise power of a Meridian drive, but something wilder and stronger. Humanity was ready to return to the stars. And this time, they weren't following anyone else's rules. The alert came on a quiet Tuesday morning. Marcus burst into the command center, his face pale with excitement. "They're here. A Meridian fleet just appeared at the edge of our solar system." Walker was already moving, sending the signal that would activate their defense plans. Throughout the underground base, lights flashed as crews ran to their stations. 6 months of preparation were about to be tested. "How many ships?" he asked, studying the long-range sensor data. 15 vessels, Emma reported from her station. Standard Meridian patrol formation. They're not even trying to hide. They want us to see them coming. Walker smiled grimly. Of course they do. This is another message. Time to send one back. He activated the facility-wide comm. All crews to ships. This is not a drill. Repeat. All crews to ships. Their secret shipyards, hidden in abandoned mines and underwater facilities around the world, had produced 8 vessels of the new Phoenix class. Not as many as Walker would have liked, but they would have to be enough. "The Meridians are broadcasting," Anna announced from the communication station. "They're using standard frequencies. They want to make sure we can hear them." "Put it through," Walker ordered. A hologram appeared in the center of the command room. The Meridian commander was tall and silvery, its movements precise and elegant. When it spoke, its voice was translated by their stolen and improved translation systems. "Humans of Earth," the alien said, "your recent theft of Meridian technology has been noted. Your primitive attempts to replicate our achievements are admirable but misguided. Surrender the stolen technology, and we will be merciful." Walker stepped forward. "This is Captain James Walker of Earth. We appreciate your concern, but we'll be keeping what we took. In fact, we'd like to thank you for the inspiration." The Meridian commander's expression didn't change. Their faces weren't made for showing emotion, but its voice became colder. "You were warned once. Your species is not ready for advancement. We will now remove your capacity for spaceflight entirely." The transmission cut off. Walker turned to his crew. "Battle stations. Let's show them what humanity has done with their superior technology." The first Phoenix-class ship rose from its hidden base in the Nevada desert, its hybrid hull gleaming in the sunlight. Others emerged from their concealed locations around the globe. From the Australian outback, the Sahara Desert, the Brazilian rainforest, and the depths of the Pacific Ocean. "Meridian fleet is advancing," Emma reported. "They're using standard attack formation Delta, exactly like in their tactical database." Walker took his place in the command chair of the lead ship. "They're fighting by the book. Let's throw away the book. All ships, execute Operation Wildcard." The Phoenix ships moved in patterns that would have horrified any Meridian commander. They broke formation, each ship acting independently, using maneuvers that the aliens' tactical computers would consider illogical or impossible. The Meridian fleet opened fire first, their quantum disruption beams lancing out across space, but the hybrid hulls of the Phoenix ships, combining Meridian crystals with human alloys in ways the aliens had never considered, absorbed or deflected the attacks. "Their shields are configured to stop quantum weapons," Anna reported with satisfaction. "They're not ready for what we built. All ships, weapons-free." The first salvo caught the Meridians completely by surprise. Instead of the energy weapons they were expecting, the Phoenix ships launched salvos of physically crafted projectiles, accelerated to near-light speed by stolen and modified Meridian power cores. The alien shields, designed to stop energy attacks, were less effective against old-fashioned kinetic impacts. "Direct hits on 3 enemy vessels," Marcus reported. "Their shields are holding, but they're adapting their formations. They're falling back to defensive pattern Omega." Walker nodded. "Just like we thought they would. Spring the trap." 2 more Phoenix ships suddenly appeared behind the Meridian fleet, their improved stealth systems dropping away. The aliens had never considered that their cloaking technology could be modified to work at battle speeds. It violated too many of their safety protocols. The battle that followed was unlike anything either species had expected. The Meridian ships were more advanced in every way, but they fought like machines, following preset patterns and protocols. The human ships fought like humans, improvising, taking risks, using their hybrid technology in ways that the aliens' tactical computers couldn't predict. "Their flagship is dropping power," Emma called out. "The quantum shock from their own deflected weapons is overloading their systems." Walker watched as the Meridian Fleet's perfect formation began to break apart. Their ships were designed to fight as a coordinated unit, each one playing its precise role. But the humans weren't fighting as a unit. They were fighting as individuals, each captain making their own decisions, creating chaos that the Meridians couldn't adapt to. "They're transmitting again," Anna reported. The Meridian commander appeared once more, but its perfect posture was gone. "This is impossible," it said. "You cannot be using our technology this way. It violates all established protocols." "That's humanity's specialty," Walker replied. "We don't care about your protocols. We care about what works. Stand down your fleet, or we'll show you a few more impossible things." There was a long pause. Walker could almost see the alien commander struggling with concepts it had never been trained for. Finally, it spoke again. "Your species, you have taken our most advanced technology and changed it, made it work in ways that should not be possible." There was something new in its voice, not quite respect, but perhaps the beginning of understanding. "We must reconsider our assessment of humanity." Walker leaned forward. "Here's what's going to happen. Your fleet will withdraw. You'll recognize Earth as an independent technological power. And in return, we'll share with you some of the improvements we've made to your technology." "Improvements?" The commander sounded genuinely confused. "But our technology is already perfect." "Perfect, but not optimal," Walker corrected. "You built everything to be safe and predictable. We found ways to make it better. Faster, more efficient. We can show you, if you're willing to learn." The Meridian ships began to power down their weapons. On the tactical display, Walker could see them reverting to their standard non-combat formation. But there was something different about it, something less rigid than before. "The collective will need to discuss this," the commander said. "Your species has demonstrated capabilities we did not think possible. This changes many calculations." "That's what humans do," Walker replied. "We change things. Sometimes we break them, but usually we make them better." As the Meridian fleet began its withdrawal, Walker looked around at his crew. Emma was already analyzing the battle data, finding ways to improve their systems even further. Anna was working on new tactical programs that combined human unpredictability with alien precision. Marcus was excitedly explaining to anyone who would listen how they could use what they'd learned to make their ships even more efficient. "Captain," Emma called out, looking up from her station. "The Meridians left us a message on their quantum network. It's an invitation. They want to establish formal diplomatic relations." Walker smiled. "Send them our response. Tell them we look forward to showing them how much more their technology can do when you stop following all the rules." The Phoenix ships turned back toward Earth, their hybrid drives pulsing with power that was neither purely human nor purely alien, but something new and better than both. They had done more than defend their planet. They had shown the galaxy that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in copying advanced technology, but in finding new ways to use it. Above them, the stars seemed brighter somehow, more full of promise than threat. Humanity was ready to take its place among them, not as students or followers, but as innovators who could take the impossible and make it work anyway.